Welcome to this week's edition of Fun Activities in 5, where we are taking an activity that maybe you know and maybe you don't and showing you how I use it in my classroom so that you've got something to come back to or to try this week. This week we are looking at what I like to call a picture gallery walk. This is a modified version of an activity that I learned from Annabelle Williamson, or Maestra Loca, several years ago when she did a PD for our district. And it's an activity that I love to use, especially in level 1, to get my students speaking. When Annabelle did this activity, and I'll see if I can find a blog post that she has on it, but basically she did it as a art walk. So students had their own paper and were working independently to do essentially the same task. They just weren't working in partners verbally. So here's how this works. You're going to read something in class, or you could skip that part, but I think it's a little more helpful if you read first. I like to do this with a story. I read a story in class. Then I give students a sentence or two of the story to draw. They can pick their sentence, or I can give them the sentence randomly. Doesn't really matter. And I give them the sentence. Maybe it says, there is a whale, the whale lives in the ocean. And they're drawing a picture of a whale in an ocean. I collect all of those pictures and I go through them to find the best ones. If I need to, I will digitally make one to fill in if there's one that's not good enough for that sentence. And I have, let's say, 10 sentences. I take those 10 pictures and I label them A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Those same sentences that students drew go on a piece of paper that looks like this, and they are out of order. It just has the 10 phrases that are going to match the 10 pictures that look like this, and they're out of order, or they could be in order. It doesn't matter. Do what you want to do. When we are doing this activity, I put students in partners. The goal is that half the time students are interpreting the image to come up with the sentence, and the other half of the time students are listening to the interpretation of the picture to match it to the written sentence on the paper. So for example, student A is going to sit in the classroom with this paper that has the sentences on it. Student B is going to go into the hallway and look at this image or whatever images you have, and they're going to describe it in the target language. So student B is going to come into the classroom, and in your target language, they are going to say things like whatever their ability is, but it could be as simple as there is an animal. The animal is blue. The animal is big. The animal's in the ocean. Or it could be as complex as there is a whale that is in the ocean, or there is a whale that lives in the ocean. They're describing it as best they can in the target language to student A, who is looking at the correct answers. Student B is not looking at the correct answers. So student A is looking at that paper, and as they are listening, they're looking down these sentences. They're rereading these sentences to say which one of these sentences could match with the picture that's being described to me. Student A can ask questions, or they can clarify with their partner. They can say things like, oh, is it a dog or a whale? Is it swimming or is it running? Whatever they need to get to it. Once they have it down, they might say, oh, could it be there is a whale in the ocean? Yeah, that's what I saw. And they say, what's the letter? The letter is A. They write the letter A next to those sentences. This continues for the first 5 or half of however many you have. Then the students switch roles. Once they are done, I check their alphabet matching to the sentences on their paper. This is an important step because after they have the correct image matched to the correct sentence, they're going to use the other half of the paper to number the events in the order they occurred originally, or in a logical order if you didn't already read a text that has a correct order. If you don't check the letters first, it gets really hard with the numbers because they may get the number order right, but if they don't have the picture matched right, then they missed a crucial step. Reasons I love this activity is, especially my level 1s, it allows them to really explore the language verbally within their ability, with words that they know, with things that they are familiar with someone they feel safe with, in a way that teaches them they can be understood at whatever they are able to give. And it's another great way to show students that communication is negotiation, and that I can give you information, you can give me information or ask me for information, and we can go back and forth until we agree on the meaning of this image and these sentences together. This takes me about an entire class period. It is a longer activity, but it is so good for students who are reading and writing and listening and speaking all at the same time. If you have ever tried this activity, I would love to hear how it's gone in your room. If not, I will link the blog post that I've written about this activity below for you to be able to see the cycle of going through this activity from text all the way to the end, and you can try it out in your classroom. Thanks for joining me this week, and we will see you next time.